NBA 2K26 builder is crazy. They just announced that you got a 7'4", and today we're gonna dive into 7'4" specifically. If you're into that, it's the video to go through, and I'm going to teach you basically the different ways that you can make this and utilize it as best as possible with the new Max Plus 2s, specialization, and so much more. There's some crazy things this year that you're going to be able to do. It's a fun time. I'm super excited. If you haven't been watching, I broke down the Max Plus 1s and 2s. I mean, you should be knowing what this is. If you don't, basically Max Plus 1s boost your badge 1 level, then Max Plus 2s boosted 2 levels. It's not rocket science, right? So those are the two things that are pretty cool and going to be amazing when they do get put into the game. So you're able to do that. Then the second thing that you're watching here is basically a challenge, and these challenges going to give you those cap breakers and the Max Plus 1s. Cap breakers boost your attributes outside of you already finishing them to a higher potential, and then your Max Plus 1s, you know what they are. You just got to do these challenges and you'll get that. I'm not going to recap all that because that takes too long. But what we want to do is go through the build, and we're going to talk about how to make a 7'4" that's useful. And the first thing I want to talk about is the most important thing, and I think you guys sometimes ignore. I've seen 7-footers not do this, and I'm going to show you on 2K25's builder what's important. So you want to have strength. I've made a 6'8" build that doesn't have, you know, crazy stats. And as a matter of fact, it only has Hall of Fame box out and Hall of Fame rebounder. Okay. So just with that alone, just something like this right here, you're good to go. I've dominated against a lot of centers just from having Hall of Fame box out, which takes strength and rebounding. Okay, and then rebound chasers just rebounds. Now here's the thing: you got the Max Plus 1s and the Max Plus 2s and cap breakers. So I don't need to waste all my points here, right? Of course, I can probably go to 94. We go to 94 here as well, and then get it to 96. I put the weight specifically to have 96 max. The reason for it is I did want brick wall at its highest. Okay, I didn't want to lose brick wall, so I made sure I have it right there. Now again, I can just use a cap breaker, get that to where I want it, and then same thing with my box out. Have it at 94. If I want it to legend, I'm gonna have to max on that, or get my strength up and do it this way. But the point is, for a 7'4", you should never get out rebound. So maybe using your Max Plus 1s, playing smart. We're starting off with just that lesson because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how important that is. And having vertical a little bit is good, mostly for unlocking dunks and stuff, but it helps. You have a very, very low vertical, you won't get the rebound compared to somebody else who has a little bit higher. Not that big a deal, but it's necessary. So, okay, now that we kind of got the general thing, another big thing is interior defense, okay? A lot of people don't realize interior defense is very important. So if I contest you and I got a high block, I might be able to hit the ball consistently. But if my interior is low, happens to a lot of people, and all of a sudden, I might get a block or two, but I'm not contesting, you're going to be getting more dunks and layups in the basket because I'm walking around like a point guard with bad interior. Okay. So having this pretty high is going to make it impossible for people to just score on you. So keep that in mind as you go. And again, for me, the threshold has always been 93, and it's crazy because now blocking, you can get a legend paint patroller. Okay, so if I really wanted to go crazy, I use all my cap breakers. For example, 5 fact breakers on rebound, so I have it at 99. Just make believe. This is the make believe build, okay? And then my strength is also maxed because of my cap breakers. I use every cap breaker on all that. Then I said, you know what? I want paint patroller maxed out. And all of a sudden, I got it on legend because of my Max Plus 2 permanently. Then I can do the same thing or my interior. If I really wanted to go hard, have higher interior. But again, personally, I don't go too crazy with it. 94 isn't necessary. For me personally, I've always had like an 88 or somewhere in the 90s. Okay, but that's just how I like to play personally. You can choose whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you're feeling, you know, going from there. These are the four factors: strength, rebound, blocks, interior. After that, we can get into the actual build and what's necessary and how to go depending on what mode you're playing. Either way, with a 6-7-4, those 4 pings you want to have decently high. And they're going to take up a lot. As you can see, already at 94 just from doing that. So if I was to say, hey, I want my shooting high, well, guess what? I only have it on set specialist. Guess what? I'm going to use my max +2 to buff this up all the way to gold. I'm going to be able to kill it with it. Okay. Very nice. And if I wanted to try and be a little slick, I could even go higher and have it on Hall of Fame because I buffed this up. But maybe I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to shoot no middies too often. I'll put it at 70. Need my standing dunk a little high. I want to be able to rise up just a little bit at an 81. To me, that's been my threshold. 81 allows you to get some really good standing dunks and good. Okay. So right here, and I wanted to switch my max +1 there if I feel like I need to, but guess what? We're not, because we're all set with that. I do need some passing and I'm cooked. Guess what happens? Again, I would definitely not do this. I'll have it at 94 for my cap breakers to get the rest. And then the same thing with this. Blocking is a little exaggerated. So the question now is like, what type of build are you making? Why are you so exaggerated on some of it? Oh, guess what? I can drop some things to the numbers that I might think about doing and that I love much better. Okay. Non-negotiable to me is a 99 rebound. Of course, I'll put it on offense, right? Let's just do it quick. So, boom. And then strength is a debate. Like, how far do you want to go? 90, you want this on legend, or you want to use your max +1s to legend it? But there we go. We're going to keep it at 91. Just kind of little details that I'm working through. And I want to have a decent pass, break starter, silver, good to go. Not going to be dribbling much. I'll figure that out later. And I definitely want my 60-inch interceptor, because I can use a max +1 on my tier 2 to get interceptor on gold. Think about it. A lengthy 7-4 with gold interceptor is crazy, right? And remember, interceptor is one of those badges that help you unlock animations. So my animations won't be slow. I'll be able to get interceptions better, right? And there goes kind of a build somewhat. Of course, I would do a little bit different, but this is just an example of the type of things I can do. And then I would start tweaking it perfectly. Maybe I want some driving dunk or close shot. Maybe this is not a post player. This is supposed to spot up in the corner, you know, hit some shots, pass the ball on the fast break, rebounds, block, get a couple interceptions sometimes, and just be a monster because your strength is very high. I'll basically have legend or Hall of Fame defensive setups outside of steals being on gold. Okay, that's it. And then, like I said, if I was going to go crazy, I'm like, let me get some extra dunks in there. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and buff up my badges to really get to Hall of Fame shooting badges. Going to make me even better. Whatever little tweaks of these extra points you can throw in there and then make a decision. Again, I'm not going to try to tell you how to make the build because we don't have the builder, but the concept here is understanding, okay, a 7-footer, this is kind of the traditional. I can play competitively with this to a certain extent. Of course, I want my steals way better than this, but this is kind of like the best version that you can get bang for your buck while still being, you know, relevant. So on. Personally, I like close shot for bigs because sometimes you can't do, but I also like layups because when you try to do a dunk, driving dunk, sometimes it turns into a layup. there you go. So that'll be kind of it. Of course, I would probably put up my free throws if I'm playing competitively. But there you go, a 7-footer, just a traditional version. And now if you stick around, I'm going to show you a very quick, crazier version. Check it out. And this right here, you might say, what is that? Well, it's ridiculous because of this reason right here. So you're going to have set shot specialists on Hall of Fame, right? Very nice. And then you can even use another one to have dead eye pretty high. The goal here is to be a crazy shooter while having amazing standing dunk. Gold rise up is very important. When you get a rebound, you can put it right back up. You can boost this as well if you want. Again, a lot of these stats, some of them aren't that necessary. I like a 55 for the lowest amount of driving dunk. You can get simple dunks, but it's useful when necessary. And again, some of these aren't necessary. I just feel like having a little bit of physical finisher helps you finish when your dunk turns into a layup. That's why I have that. And then passing as usual, very good. Dribbling, you can actually do a little something with the dribbles, nothing crazy. But the main key is it's still going to be a monster defensively. See the stats right here. I'm able to buff these up with max plus 1s and 2s. Which whatever I'm feeling I'm lacking, I can have. Okay. A rebound chaser, I can put it on legend. That's without cap breakers. Okay. But with the cap breakers, I'm going to have this on legend anyways. Then, for example, strength, you can use cap breakers or max plus 1s to get box out beast higher. But overall, this is the setup of a 7'4" style that I would want to do. And the biggest one that I love is with the small hands, a 7'4" wingspan. This is the craziest idea here. And this is where, like I said, you would have to tweak the builds, do whatever you're feeling. But limitless range, I didn't want to kind of talk about this. I'm going to break the game with this. But limitless range on bronze is the idea for a 7'4" who's going to stand in the hash far away as humanly possible. You're going to use a max plus 2 to turn this all the way up to gold. Okay, limitless on a 7'4", I remind you. And I can put set shot specialist high as well with my second tier 2. And that's going to put set shot specialist on the Hall of Fame. So you're automatically going to spark from far. That means the center has to come out there. If they put the point guard on you, that's fine. He can't contest. Sorry. So this is a build that could be ridiculous. And it doesn't have to be 7'4". Okay, I'm just giving y'all the general concept. Little crazy things that you can do. You're going to turn your build into a monster. I wouldn't make this build, and that's why I waited to the end to show it. But I wouldn't make this build until like I already have the competitive build and I'm playing serious. And then I'm like, hey, let me go and make this. That's the thing. So those are the kind of builds I'm looking forward to seeing in the game. I know a lot of people in my comments are going to be like, oh, you're trying to promote broken builds. This is so stupid. Well, guess what? Everybody has a chance to make a crazy build. I've already showcased some point guard ones on my last video. Showcased some wings that are going to be insane. It's not like if only the 7'4" is going to have the max plus 2s and he's the only one that can use a specialization to shoot from limitless range and do all this craziness. No. Every build can do this. And we have to just enjoy ourselves, have fun with the game. And that's where, you know, 7'4" can be pretty funny to be out there with. You know, it's going to be a menace defensively, but then offensively, it's going to be scary to deal with. I want to see what it's like. I'm interested. I'm excited. And of course, when we get our hands on it, we'll go deeper down the rabbit hole. I just made a video about your build, testing your build. So I want you to go look at that. It's popping up on screen now, basically teaching you what more or less what you already made, how you can use these cap breakers and these new max plus 1s and 2s system for your benefit. Right? Leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you rock with me and want more. See y'all on the next one. God bless.